I was planning on doing like like driving up here and then hitting weird towns like on the way and doing a little road trip. But 2 weeks.
Scooby-Doo adventure.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. But 2 weeks is like just not enough time. I mean, it's so quick, and I had to pack up everything. And so I got here, and I just had some clothes. I had a suitcase, and I just packed a bunch of shit, and I was shipping everything else. And so this is my first apartment. I had another one, but for like the first couple of days, I didn't have a bed. So I just put my coats on the ground, and I slept, and I didn't have a pillow or anything. So I just slept with a bunch of coats on top of me. I was like squatting my own apartment, dude. It was like...
That's weirdly... There's like a... romanticized version.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you would think.
Yeah.
Living in the big city, this is what it takes to do the dream.
People, yeah. I like when I listen to comedians, like famous comedians on podcasts, talk about what they went through and where they are now.
Yeah.
It's what gives me hope. It's like it's okay that there's roaches.
It's supposed to be shitty.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
part of the process.
What inspired you to come out here?
Well, like I was trying to think of growing up, I was a pretty funny kid, and like I like making people laugh. I had such bad stage fright though. I wanted to do theater really bad in high school, but I was just so scared, and I just never did it. And then when I got to college, I was in community college, and there was a flyer for an improv class. And I had I could take whatever one class that was for shits and giggles, just for credits. And so I took that, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is so much fun. It's not just me up there. I'm 26.
How old were you?
Oh, when they're 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I got there, and it was nice because it was a whole group of people up there. So if it wasn't funny, it just wasn't your fault. With stand up, you're like, oh, I'm the problem. This is what it is.
All
yeah,
on you.
Yeah, exactly. And then the guy that was teaching the class, I went up to him at the end of the class because we had a student show. And I was like, how can I do more of this? Tell me what I need to do. And he was the owner of Comedy Sports San Jose. And so he was like, yeah, you can take classes there. And then if you work up, you can make the team. And then we have shows every weekend. And it's really cool. And so I did that for 2.5 years. Fucking love them. I miss them so much. They're just such good people. And then when I towards the end of when I transferred to San Jose State University, that's when I started doing stand-up a little bit. I was in the, it was called the All Comedy SJSU. It was just a bunch of us, yeah. And then we just went there, and then we just roasted each other. And you tell jokes, and they're like, this would be better, blah, blah, blah. And then we would go to open mics together. So that was my first introduction into doing stand-up.
It sounds like you had a pretty positive go of I
had a good support system, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
When I talk to most comics about it's always my girlfriend left me and my dad killed himself. And
I was addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
So I started writing.
And all you got to do is sign up to be an open micer.
Yeah. I feel like growing up in California, I just had more opportunities. A lot of people here are from Pennsylvania or just some podunk town that they wouldn't have open mics and whatnot.
I think that's what I'm ironically from California, but from a podunk.
Yeah, kind of little known. Well, you said also the people you were around weren't super supportive.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
I'm working on building myself up
from all those years of just.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I enjoy you're just an easy person to talk to and be around.
Thank you.
I assume you get that a lot.
From time to time, yeah.
You have an ease about you.
Uh-huh.
Like when I tell people I'm from California and they're like, "Oh, surfing."
Yeah,
whoa. It's you should be the guy they should be saying that to because I'm from the desert. I'm from I think people when they picture California, they think I know we've talked about this. They think of it as L.A.
Yeah, they just have the stereotypes of either you're a Hollywood asshole or you're kind of hype beast. Bay Area is more hype beasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where I grew up, it was suburb and desert. And it was just super stifling to my personality. Have you ever been around people that I call them NPCs?
Oh.
You ever been around a person
they just don't have personality? They're just kind of
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe this is just ego, but it almost feels like God put them there to fill out. You work at Retzel's Pretzels just because pretzels need to be sold.
Here's 5 lines of dialogue that you'll just say over and over again.
Yeah, or when you're in playing Pokemon and you run into a guy and he says the
Yeah,
same
just in the
goddamn
grasses,
thing.
yeah.
It feels like
I'm looking for Caterpies. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It feels like I grew up around that.
Okay.
And so my personality just freaked people out.
Mm.
And on top of being black, that didn't help.
Oh yeah, were you a pretty minority? Was it?
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, okay.
We haven't talked about the race stuff.
No.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to get to know each other.
Yeah,
man.
that's exciting.
I guess before I go on to me, what was your upbringing like?
Yeah. So I grew up in Fremont, which is like 40 minutes outside of SF. And pretty good. It was mostly because Silicon Valley is right there. So, like, I went to high school with, like, 90% Indian and Asian. So I was a minority. Not in, like, I definitely didn't, people didn't, bully me or were racist to me or anything like that. But it was good. It wasn't very religious. So I've never grown up religious. My family was not. They were very supportive. My parents got divorced when I was graduated high school. But it was, like, good. You guys were terrible together. So everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're like, don't be. Yeah. They are happy. This is fantastic.
Oh man, you're making more sense to me now. You're even keel. I'm sure there's something deep down.
Oh, there's some darkness, baby.
I'll find it. Yeah. That's what the support podcast is for me digging around in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
But so it sounds like fairly reasonable upbringing.
Yeah.
No, you ever get in a fight or get jumped or anything?
If you ask my friends, they'll say I boxed this other Aaron one time.
So many Aarons.
But we were boxing on gravel, and I slipped. He didn't knock me out, Aaron. I slipped. He didn't knock me out. Okay. If you talk to Brandon and Chase, they'll tell you he knocked me out. He didn't. It was a lot of gravel. But no, not really. But yeah, I had my own struggles with like being a teenager. Just, like you're uncomfortable with yourself and, still working through that. But nothing like, we weren't particularly poor. We were like upper middle class. I have 2 older sisters. I get along with them well.
That's, man, wow.
All the puzzle pieces are coming together.
Yeah. I can see how you're a very easygoing person. Like being out here so far. This is my first time. This is your first time like living away from home like this?
My first year of college, I moved to Monterey, but it's like an hour and a half from where I grew up. So
same.
Yeah.
I went to San Marcos.
Okay.
Which is about an hour and a half south of where I grew up.
Was it pretty similar environment to where you grew up though? Was it not like a big culture shift?
It was a culture shift in another negative way.
Oh no. You just have a run of bad luck. Oh,
yeah. I don't want to blame I'm learning to take responsibility for my own actions.
Good.
But at the same time, I've come to realize environment affects you in a big way. I came from suburb, desert, and just white for the most part, cop area. And this is the 90s. And so, like, you can't just videotape everything and no one gives a shit. And just nobody listening to all, like, dealing with skinheads and getting jumped and getting called a nigger all the time. And, just, I could tell you story after story.
Yeah.
And so when I went to college, it was Cal State San Marcos, which was it was about Chicano pride and hyper white feminism.
Okay.
And so coming from this environment, and being a loud, brash, obnoxious person that I am, I went there and I was like, oh, now I'm being met with a different type of pushback to who I am. And so I think I ended up like lashing out and being purposefully irritating. It was like, if you're gonna dislike me, I'm gonna give you a reason to really dislike me. And now moving to Chicago, I was like, let me not do that. Let me
start new a little bit.
Yeah, let me chill out a bit. And then I meet people like you, and I feel like for some reason people like you, either I gravitate towards them or they gravitate towards me, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I would love your perspective.
Wow. Oh, well, just the same thing. I mean, like when you kind of see someone, like I can't remember the first time I met you. Maybe North Bar or something
we were. I don't know if we met it. I remember the first time I remember you. And it was it was by Wrigley Field.
Oh, Irish Oak.
Yes. And I was like the Aaron thing.
Yeah. I remember that. Or Aaron from.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, just like you're super easy to talk to. I always like you can tell people, especially in comedy. There's sometimes I know comedians can either be loners or be very talkative, but just like when I talk to you, you're very engaging. It seems like you listen. Where there's some people you're like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, yeah, they're in their own world. So it seems like you're just a friendly guy, and I think that really shows. It's not something that is deep down. You're able to. It seems you seem genuine.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I've come to realize about myself. This is going to be a therapy one.
Let's do it.
Damn
Let's
it.
bring
All
it.
right, here it is.
We're here for it.
Because you're too well adjusted. My last I did one with Izzy. Do you know Izzy?
Yeah, it's
short.
Yeah.
I did one with her last night, and her life is fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh my god.
I had no idea.
Crazy shit.
Oh, God.
I'm posting it on Sunday, so if you're curious and you want,
I will. Yeah, I'll listen to it.
But it's like her life is so fucking insane that I can hang back and be like, let me listen to you.
Yeah, wow. Every minute you're like, what the fuck?
Oh my god, really crazy shit.
That's why you just don't know sometimes just by looking at someone. I mean, she seems that she's always been nice to me, I guess.
She's very nice.
Yeah,
I love Izzy, but
then it comes from you just never know.
Shit. And then when I don't know. But what was I saying? What I've realized. I realized this during quarantine was that I wasn't present. You seem like a guy who meditates.
I do, yeah.
Feeling. Like I will seem like I'm there and I'm not. Like I'm in another place, but I think I've learned this. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or what, but this it's like you're talking to an infomercial. Like the TV's on and there's things happening and words are being said, but I'm off somewhere else and I have to like bring myself back. Like even during this whole conversation, it's a boomerang effect.
Yeah. Thinking about a million things at once.
But speaking of going all over the place, I gotta like write notes down or something before here.
That's okay.
But yeah, we met at
I think it was the Irish Oak.
The Irish Oak, and I remember the AA Ron thing. I remember thinking I remember thinking that as soon as I started talking to you that you did not like that.
While you were on stage?
Yeah, as soon as I got off stage and I started talking to you, I remember feeling like this is either going to be funny and this is going to be okay, or you're really not going to like me.
Yeah.
And it ended up being funny from what I remember. So you don't have that like that. You don't think about how other people think of you. I don't get that vibe.
I mean, I do. That was always kind of like a hard thing of being, something I struggled with being a teenager, just having such anxiety. I would always just worry about like being in class. I would just get panic attacks and just like have a lot of anxiety about it. I was on, I forget what the anxiety thing, like Zoloft or something like that for a while. And I hated that. It just made me feel spacey and out of it. So, I do, but it's definitely gotten, as I've gotten older, I've really focused and working on like trying to let that go. And especially doing open mics. I mean, you get that thick skin, and that's something you try to work towards. But yeah, I still do, but just kind of like, I guess that comes with the meditation. A big part of that is that thoughts will always be there. There'll be negative and good ones, and you don't have to give them power. You can kind of just let them pass and view them, but to stop them in their tracks, that's kind of hard. Just realize that they're always going to come, but you don't have to listen to them.
When did you start meditating and learning how to process that?
Yeah, when I was 17 is when I started, but I didn't know the word for meditation. I would sit in my desk chair in my room, and I would breathe as fast and as hard as I could until I passed out. And I was like, it's working. Yeah.
This sounds like extreme meditation.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know, because there's also like a mental part of it of like, thinking and being present, like you were saying. But I just thought, I just had anxiety, and I would feel all this pressure in my face and like in my body. And so I was like, if I just breathe it out, that'll help. And I mean, it did, but I just didn't have the word to connect to it yet.
And the technique behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's...
Well, I'm curious, when you said that you aren't present, why do you think that is? Is it just because your mind is everywhere? or are you working towards being more present? How are you doing that?
The why, I have theories. I think part of it is probably like an ADHD thing that I'm not diagnosed with.
Okay.
And then the other part of it, survival. Like I would go to school and I would be unhappy there and feel outcasted there. 'Cause usually the only black kid, and it was got brought up all the time.
Okay.
Like I'm really glad we have words like aggression now because it puts into words something that I couldn't describe.
Yeah.
Like
someone says some subtle shit to you, but if you like said it out loud, what they did, it wouldn't seem.
Yeah,
too much,
people don't. Like this is a good one, classic one. People would say I was a good black person.
Oh no.
Yeah, a lot. People would say that a lot, and I would. And you're a kid, and so it's like. This doesn't feel like
it's fucked up.
It's really fucked up.
And
then I would tell people, but they were all white, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that person just called me a good black person." They're like, "Well, Aaron, they said you were."
Yeah, you are though.
Yeah, you're like really good. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so I would go to school and just be miserable, and I wasn't good at school in that way. I didn't learn the way that they taught. And I would go home and be miserable because my mom has her issues. I'm trying to word it in a more less angry way, has her issues. And so I think what ended up happening was I just went in my own head. And I watched a lot of movies and TV, but even that was from the very white perspective. So it was like I couldn't escape, basically. And so now, and I think part of it was the violence. The violence, I think, added to it. So now I'm trying to just be here and let the thoughts, trying to stop a thought is what I thought you were supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that makes it harder and just makes you think that you're never supposed to have bad thoughts, and then if one does come up, you go, "Oh, I'm weak."
Right.
Oh, I'm supposed to. They're not supposed to happen at all. I'm supposed to be stronger than that, but like, no, they'll always be there.
Yeah, and I would look for help. I would ask people. I remember, I would ask people, "What do you think about?" And I would hear people say nothing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's such a weird answer. Yeah, to even be like, if you were a healthy person.
Yeah. Well, I don't think most people are healthy. I've come to realize, especially the pandemic really showed that.
Oh, gosh.
But I would ask people, like, what do you think about? And they would be like, no, I don't know, nothing. And I think in the past, I looked at those people as dumb or stupid because I was trying to build myself up. But now I think they are inadvertently being present, and they just don't realize it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So it's kind of a positive, is how you're seeing it. Yeah, like nothing, as in like maybe they're just not worrying about anything. They're just hanging out. We're just being here. Yeah,
they're just taking in information. Like even right now, my mind is going a million. I'm like, I'm sure you can feel it to some degree, and I try to bring it back. Can you tell?
I mean, a little bit, but we're just, talking. I'm listening to what you're saying and thinking about maybe a little extra questions I could ask when you said this and that and other ways we could go. So I'm kind of doing it too, but you seem like you're here and you're present, man.
It's like a reverse interview. Yeah. But I know that, like, I wonder why someone like you doesn't become an asshole. Why is that? Because the when I meet people that, a lot of the times when I meet people that had moms and dads, fairly reasonable upbringings, middle to upper middle class, Caucasian, male, found out straight. I got to talk to you about that.
The formula, baby.
Yo, I got to talk to you about that later.
But at the top.
But like, why aren't you an asshole? Because when I meet people with your circumstances, usually I'm like, I don't like the cut of his jib. What? Why? What is? Why are you nice?
I guess it just goes back. I actually think about this quite a bit. Why I'm so nice? Yeah. I mean, I struggled a lot as like a teenager. I had horrific acne. I had really bad acne, and that because I ate good. I drank because I was a teenager, but I didn't smoke. I cut out dairy, but it was this thing that I always had, and there was nothing I could do about it. And so I just hated myself, for a while. And then I just kind of thought that, if I feel like this and I feel so shitty, why would I want anyone else to feel like this? So if I could just be, as friendly and as nice as I can, of course, that's a double-edged sword because for a lot of my life, I felt like I'm a pushover.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were mean to me, I would still be nice to you because I just kind of wanted to be liked. I think the last couple of years I've definitely done better with that, just kind of having a balance. I mean, it is important to be nice and kind to people, but also, don't let people fucking step on you, dude, because they will. Obviously, they'll take advantage of you. So I think getting a balance of that, but just, I don't want to be mean to people. I don't see any.
Are you more like your mom or your dad?
Ooh, I think maybe my mom. She's very cool. She's a little dramatic. I mean, that's kind of how moms are. I feel like they just kind of a little dramatic. My dad, my mom's kind of funny, so I think maybe I'm like her. My dad's a little bit more serious. Like when I was growing up, if you wanted like candy or if we wanted to like buy you something, my dad would be like, no, you just like 10 years old, he'd be like, you just buy it yourself.
Yeah.
Of course, you always go to mom, be like, hey, can we get McDonald's? Like, yeah. So he was a little stricter, but he also grew up a little bit tougher. And my mom grew up kind of like how I did, pretty privileged. But yeah.
And you have sisters?
I do have 2 older sisters.
Are they? And they're probably, I assume, well adjusted. Is there like any black sheep of the family?
Not particularly. I mean,
fascinating.
My sister, yeah. So my middle sister Taylor, which I actually found out over the pandemic, is that she's actually my half sister. I didn't know that. It's something like my family didn't talk about. I was on the phone with my oldest sister Danielle, and we were talking about something, and then she was like, "Well, Taylor's dad," and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Taylor's dad?" And I guess when my oldest sister Danielle was born, my parents split up for a little bit, and my mom slept with another man. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, they were not together.
Yeah.
And then I guess we just had never talked about it. And this is the first time I'd heard of it. The whole point of that story was that Taylor is a little bit different. Like me and Danielle were always into sports, and Taylor was not so much. And then Taylor got pregnant when she was 16. She is the hardest working person I know.
Yeah.
She really took that and just made it had it made her stronger, and she's always the one that's taking charge and able to get things done. But she is a little bit different, and my sisters kind of clashed for a little bit. Like they didn't talk for a few years because they were just, I don't know, having some problems. They're good now. They've started talking, and family gatherings aren't so weird. But yeah, I feel like everyone's pretty well adjusted. I mean, just like anyone, we've had our fights, but there's nothing like, oh, Taylor.
Right.
There's no, I would say, black sheep of the family.
You would be a great politician.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. Man, I guess when you tell me about your life, I juxtapose my own version of what life would be like in my situation.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been like, I guess I can't imagine from your dad's perspective what that would feel like.
Yeah, well, I think like the biggest thing was like, fuck, thank you for sticking around. I mean, because he knew. And like he still, treated Taylor as his own, and we've all grown up as a family. So I'm like, fucking thank you, man. I mean, it could have made it weird for many, many years, but you still stuck with it.
Yeah, your dad's a class act. Because I have it's I feel like my life relative to yours is the toxic version of how people handle, because there's some shit like that in my family that I'll get into when it's not recording, but the way that was handled, not nearly as reasonable.
Okay.
Man, goddamn. Yeah. Your behavior and your even keel is making so much more sense to me now. What about so people thought you were gay?
Yeah. I was trying to think. I actually wrote a joke since you told me. I was like, I always thought people thought I was gay because I had a nose ring. But apparently, like, it's because of my gay voice. And everyone in the crowd's like, yeah. Is
that like, is your dad especially effeminate or something? Or?
No, nothing like that. I think I heard actually a comedian talk about Anthony Jeselnik. Mm-hmm. He was on some podcast, and he was like, yeah, I think because like I grew up around women. So like I'm just more comfortable with them. Whenever I meet a girl, I always talk to her like she's just like a close friend. I'm bad with like being flirty and romantic because with my 2 older sisters and my grandma and my mom, I was around them all the time as a kid. My dad, he kind of did his own thing. I mean, like, you know, he was there for us, but it was always like my sisters, my mom, and my grandma. So just being around them, I always just kind of talk to girls. And for, I think that the gay voice is funny, so I do it all the time, and then it becomes the way I talk. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and like I guess the way you hold yourself, you have this a very feminine presence.
Okay.
And that never caused you problems growing up?
Not so much. A lot of people do think I'm gay, so it's like hard to to hit on girls because they're like, "What?"
Are you dating?
I'm kind of talking to this girl right now. I met her on Hinge, and she's nice, so I'm just seeing where it goes. I've always been kind of weird with relationships. I've had like 6 or 7 girlfriends, but I've never dated someone for more than like 3 months.
Okay. So the long-term thing is...
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I just get scared. Just, you know, personal problems I have with myself. And then just, I like being alone. I honestly like spending time by myself. Like I'll travel by myself or I'll watch a movie by myself. I enjoy it, but it doesn't mean that I don't get lonely from time to time.
Right.
Yeah.
How that loneliness, or I guess that type of personality must have worked in your favor during the pandemic, during quarantine?
Yeah, kind of. But I think the big thing about quarantine is, I've talked to a lot of people about this, is you just realize even if you work like a shitty job, you realize how important just like the tiniest social interaction. Because like I do like being alone, but I don't like talking to no one for 6 months.
Being a prisoner.
That sucks. Yeah.
Did you feel like you changed at all during the pandemic, or were you feel like you were just you?
Yeah, kind of going through it. I mean, I think I definitely don't regret moving here because it was like what I needed to do, the right move. And yeah, I don't miss California at all with all my family there. I love them obviously, but like I knew this is where I want to be. This is where I need to be. It was tough. I mean, yeah, I got here and then everything shut down. Luckily, I was able to start my job because I spent like a couple $1,000 moving here, and then like if I didn't have a job, it would have really fucked me. But I would just like sit in my apartment, and my job was pretty stressful because we find jobs for nurses. So we were doing like a bunch of temperature taker stuff because it was like, you know, COVID, everyone was doing that, and they're hiring a bunch of medical people. So like my company did really well, but it was stressful. I mean, I would have like panic attacks. I would be working and then I would have to stop working, and I would just walk laps around my neighborhood just to kind of breathe it out. And then I remember I kept Googling like, how long is this going to last? Like I'm in a new city. Yeah. And then of course they were like, 3 weeks tops. And then a year and a half later. And so it was tough. And then, I was planning, cause I mean, moving to a new city, making friends can be kind of tough. If you don't already have a friend that can like introduce you, hey, he's cool, I know him, here's all my friends. And so I was planning on like doing improv classes and doing a recreational sport. But with none of those opportunities, I mean, you can't really, you can't just walk up to people on the street and be like, hey, should we
hang out?
Yeah, I know. Is this weird?
Yeah, making friends in your 20s and 30s and without being in like college while you do it.
Yeah, some weird, equal shared thing that you have that you're already there, and so then you already chat.
Yeah, that's kind of why this podcast I'm doing it the way. It's just an excuse to connect with people mostly.
Yeah.
And how has the scene been for you so far?
Oh, I love it. Well, now that it's like completely, there's too many opportunities for open mics. I'm like, that one looks fun, but I really want to hit this one tonight. I'll go to that next week. It's like a nice change of pace because at the beginning there was the comedy pickup, which is awesome. You know, it was Donovan Strong and Ryder Ollie. They would drive their pickup around parks, and you would do it in the back of their pickup. So people were trying. That's what I loved, is that like everyone was suffering, but people were trying to make things happen and go out of the way. So that was that for a while, and then it was kind of tough. And improv has just opened up, and I love doing that. And so it's nice now that there's just plenty of opportunity, and everyone's, you know, really kind. And I just like feeling like I'm being productive and like I'm moving forward. I hate feeling like I'm being stagnant. That's the worst for me. Yeah,
I definitely get that. I think right now I'm trying to learn how to slow down. I don't know if you ever get to that place where you feel like you're going a mile a minute. Yeah, that's the phrase, a mile a minute. Yeah. And just overworking. Do you ever overwork?
Yeah, sometimes you feel like burned out. You're like, that's kind of with mics. I would be like, because you listen to podcasts and people are like, I hit 30 mics this week. I was like, oh, that's what's important. Like, how many you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have a car, and so biking, I would spend most of my time just biking to each mic, and then I would get like late on the mic. So what I've realized is more helpful, at least for me, is if I try to do like 2 a night and then just kind of hang out. And I gained so much just from watching other people do stand up, like someone who's really good or someone who just has a certain way they do a joke that I was like, oh, I could probably apply that method to one of my jokes. That's very helpful.
Yeah. Did you ever have? You don't seem like a guy with a lot of ego, but have you ever gotten an ego check for anything? Like, have you? I think about there have been a few times coming out here where I thought I was doing well, if I was good, and I saw someone fucking destroy at a whole other level, and I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
that's something.
That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, yeah, just trying to try to be humble. That's why I try to see a lot of shows, like just people who are better, and I'm like, oh wow, that I could see, why they're at where they're at.
What is the end goal? Or if there is an end goal, what's the goal?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never really wanted to be like famous. I'm sure all comedians kind of say that. Like, I do it for the art, baby. Yeah. But
there's
I
element of fame.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way to not say that would be exciting for people to cheer for you or to be well known or to be stuff like that. But I mean, I guess if I could just make a career out of it and just be happy. I've thought about, because comedy sports, you can open up your own comedy sports. I mean, it's not that simple, but like you can if you had the money and if you found like a new town and got. So I was thinking about like doing that for a while, or like opening up a club, or there's so many opportunities to be like a road comic, or you could write for late night. So I guess I just want to get better at it and make sure that I have a good balance of like doing it and learning it and having fun, but not just like driving myself nuts with like, I have to do it all the time. I can't date because I have to be writing. I have to be at mics. I can't like go on fun trips that don't involve comedy because I have to be doing comedy 24/7. So if I can find a happy balance, I guess that would be the general goal.
I'm gonna probably start bothering you more now. Yeah. I'm gonna start messaging you more and being like, hey man, what's your thought process in this situation?
I love it. Fucking bring it on.
Yeah, because there are a lot of I think the reason why I wanted to talk to you is because there's a lot of elements of your personality that I admire and want for myself.
Thank you.
The same with Izzy. Hers is a lot darker. Her whole.
I'm interested to hear you're really talking it up.
So you gotta listen to that.
Make some popcorn, dude.
I'm posting it on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. You gotta. Her life is good. God, I don't want to spoil any of it.
But she's also, I've seen her on Facebook. Like, she hustles, dude. That's probably why she's such a hard worker. Like, really coming from.
She has this real LA vibe about her that I enjoy.
Okay.
But I'm trying to like. I think one of the things I used to do where I was from was like push my thoughts and beliefs and personality on other people rather than taking in what they have to offer. And now I'm out here and I'm meeting all these different types of people, and your relentless positivity is a fascinating thing to me.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, like even that is like, even the way you respond to that is so different from how I personally react to things. So I'm gonna be bothering you about stuff.
I like it. Yeah.
Like I want to get back in the comedy world, but like I have this buddy Zero. His nickname's Zero. His name's Chris.
That'd be a cool name though, actually.
Yeah. I can't. I don't feel comfortable calling him Chris. Like, he's just Zero, and he's black as well. And we have this running joke that I took on all of his racism in his life that he should have experienced.
Oh, yeah.
I got double the racism.
Oh no, yeah.
And so we have different views of things, and we're in this. Right now, we're trying to look at each other's worldviews a little more.
Okay.
And so we gave each other tips. I'm very curious.
Ooh, read them to me.
Yes.
So wait, did you grow up with him, or you met him here?
I met him in California.
Okay, so was he kind of in the same environment as you, and he just somehow did not get the shit that you did, or
he grew up in the he grew up in the South, and somehow just his mom was very, very sweet, apparently very supportive. He just somehow fucking hopscotched his way over all of the crazy racism, and it all hit me like a goddamn train,
like a bulldozer.
And so I need to work this into a bit, but I was messaging him, and I was like, "Hey man, do you I was like, do you ever feel like or notice that like white people don't seem to have a soul?" And I know that's not the right word to put it because obviously you have soul. But there's like a feeling that is really hard to describe. And so we were going back and forth, and he was like, "All right, I'll look at the way you think, whatever. So here are the tips."
Okay.
I told him, notice who's noticing you. Think about when you are feeling more safe and comfortable versus feeling unsafe or uncomfortable. Watch Lovecraft Country. Have you seen it?
No, I've seen like trailers for it though, and I know it's pretty good.
It's right after this, I'm gonna go to. Do you know Rachel Hall?
That name sounds familiar.
She's a comic. I'm gonna go to her place and watch more.
Okay.
It's so good. And then number 4, look for who feels warm, not necessarily nice, formal, or approachable. And so my tips were like survival tips.
Yeah.
His tips were, number 1, assume people like you.
It's already vastly different.
Number 2, imagine yourself as them if they were the main character in a positive, uplifting movie. And number 3, if you feel someone judging you, assume it's not you, but something that they're dealing with at the time, and it will pass. And I think both perspectives are valid.
Okay.
But it feels like you lean more into his realm of life, and I want that.
Okay.
I want to feel happier in the day, and I feel much better now that I'm out here, but it still is a struggle. And then things happen that like on the way here, I was walking here and the cop passed me. And there's this guy who was on a bike, and they acknowledged each other. Like the guy was like, "Hey, yeah, the cop's awesome. I'm so happy you're here.
Blue lies, baby.
Yeah, them blue lies." And the cop acknowledged him. They clearly had some rapport. Then the guy looks at me, and he looks angry, like he looks upset that I'm here. And we don't have an interaction. Like that's just life. And so I just keep moving. He doesn't experience that ever.
Yeah.
And I've been having this like struggle of like, is this fate? I was talking to Izzy about this. Is there something with me or with her that just attracts this fucking craziness? And it doesn't seem like it happens to you. Does that make sense?
Kinda. I mean, are you spiritual? Do you think like there's something?
I grew up Christian.
Okay.
I grew up in a all white Baptist Christian.
Oh boy.
With Blue Lives Matter, pre-Blue Lives Matter, everyone's family was part of the police.
Yeah.
So that was horrific in many ways. And now, through the quarantine, I now identify as Buddhist.
Okay.
With like a sprinkle of Christianity in there.
I like that.
Yeah. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is pretty cool.
Come on, you can't. Yeah.
And I don't know. I know I think tertiary. Is that the right word?
I don't know.
Surface level stuff about Buddhism. I'm not like, I don't have robes in my closet.
Yeah, but just like the general principles. My mom is kind of like that too. She has a lot of Buddhas. She hasn't like really read any of the text or anything, but just like, be kind to people.
Yeah, just be chill, man.
Yeah.
And when you say you're Buddhist, people don't have a visceral reaction to it. In this day and age, when you say Christian,
oh yeah, it's it.
Which is really sad, but whatever.
Quick question: do you like Cora at all? Did you like the?
I started it and I couldn't.
I feel like she's not like likable. She's just kind of angry. With Aang, he would have his moments where he was like childlike and kind of selfish. But then deep down, you could always like him, or he would redeem herself. I feel like she's just like a hothead.
She felt like I'm glad that they took a different direction with it. I respect the ballsiness of it and the weird mixture of technology versus. I like the concepts, but the execution of it was like
not so much.
Yeah, and the animation I wasn't fucking with.
I like just like the regular cartoon stuff, but I don't know why they do this. Sometimes when it's like there's tanks in that one, and just the animation will just be kind of janky. It just looks super like computer animated instead of like drawn. Like I like that classic kind of cartoon.
I love I appreciate CG, but the drawing I'm actually learning how to draw now.
Okay.
Cartoon stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's something so cool about like in your head you're able to like create a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I put it from pen to paper, and it's all you. It's not just like beep boop bop, and then it just kind of
That's a really crazy skill to have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we got here.
Well, you just mentioned Avatar, and like I fucking love Avatar so much.
Yo, I want to get a tattoo. Do you have any tattoos?
I do not know.
No plans. You're just
No.
gonna go.
I was thinking when I was in high school, I was gonna get 3 roses on my right here. My sisters were like, "Do not do that," and so I'm glad I did. But I'm just indecisive. I don't have anything against tattoos. Maybe like one day when I'm certain, absolutely certain.
Yeah.
What are you gonna get?
I'm gonna get. This is the concept. I usually have a concept and I sit on it for like a year to 2 years.
That's what you got. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna get. I want to get Aang's glider, but yin yang. So the top parts, one's black, one's white, and then the bottom parts is reversed.
That's very cool.
I think I want to get it right here by my fin tattoo.
Oh, very cool. I feel like a tattoo would be cool if you had Zuko's face, and it would be the yin yang because of the scar over his eye.
Oh, see,
that and like his story arc is basically the yin and the fucking yang, dude.
I love that show.
It's good. I remember watching it as a kid, and I remember when the actual series finale was on. We were visiting my uncle in Chico, and we were at a dinner, and I was like, we have to be home by 7.
Right.
This is the last episode.
This is important.
We don't have TiVo. I don't know how I'm gonna see it if we don't watch it now.
Yo, Avatar had the best. What was that? What is that called? Not a clip show, but like a recap episode. Remember the theater? The episode?
Was it not just like 5 minutes before the episode started, or was it like an entire episode?
The entire episode they did a play to recap. Oh, you don't.
Oh, I do remember. Is that during like the last season?
The last season, like last 2 episodes.
I remember because the whole team was actually watching it, and they were like, "That's not what I act like." Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah.
That is the most creative, clever way.
Breaking the fucking fourth wall, dude. Are you kidding me?
Man, that show. I know they're making more, right? I hear.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna do a whole MCU thing with it, which really, if I'll be honest, kind of, it's like.
If they can do it right, I guess more Avatar I'm down for. But
yes, but that's a big.
It's not live action, is it?
I think I don't know.
Oh no, I thought that was a joke. Oh god, yeah.
I don't know, man.
Have you seen the movie?
I've seen clips.
Yeah,
I saw the rock bending.
Oh, it's just.
I was like, I can't.
It's awful. Yeah.
I can't. It will make me too angry.
Yeah.
I watched it during quarantine.
Oh, the movie or did the teasers?
I watched the show during quarantine.
Yeah, same. I read it because it was on. I watched it online and then it came on Netflix. And I was like, motherfucker, because it was hella low quality on some like janky site that I was watching it on.
Oh, I bought it on Blu-ray now.
Oh, dude, you're smart. Yeah.
Oh, so good. Are there any other arts or anything that inspires you?
I mean, I was always big on like cartoons when I was a kid. I guess like any kid was. I loved Danny Phantom. I liked Ben 10 a lot.
Do you play an instrument?
I don't. I tried to play drums when I was little, and then I didn't realize how loud drums were.
Yeah,
and I was like, this isn't gonna work.
You're making a decision when you get a drum set.
I always tell myself that I'm gonna learn piano one day because I just love the piano. Like whenever I hear piano, I'm whisked away.
Piano's dope. I play bass.
Okay, I like bass.
It's fun. It's got a lot of funk to it.
Do you have like a favorite artist that kind of inspired you to play bass, or just anyone you try to strive to be?
Have you ever seen the movie I Love You, Man?
Yeah.
Do you know the
Pistol Pete? All right, Jobin.
Yeah.
What did you call me? I just called you Jobin. Sorry.
I watched it, and you remember when I think it's Paul Rudd's like slap it to
slap it to bass. Yeah, it is. His wife's like, well, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
slap it to bass, man.
I watched it, and I was like, that's hilarious. I need to learn bass guitar. Yeah. And that's how I started learning bass guitar.
That's dope. Yeah, that movie's fucking funny.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Are you a movie guy? I see you have a
Yeah,
collection.
I like movies. Like nowadays, there's just too many TV shows. I just can't. It's so much time to like get into a TV show and watch the whole season. So I don't watch like any TV. But I like movies because like 2 hours, everything's wrapped up. It's quick. It's bigger budget, so they'll have like better effects and stuff like that. So yeah, I do like movies, and I play a lot of it. I play way too much video games. So I think I'll probably take a lot from that too.
I could never get into video games. Yeah, like I don't get. I think I have too much of a goal. Like I need the goal. And video games these days are so vast.
Yeah.
Like I remember playing video games as a kid, like Sega Genesis, where you go from left write.
Yeah, you're just on levels, and levels done in like a couple minutes. And you're like,
Right, but now there are whole universes that you can be in, and I think it maybe it's just like overloads me. But so you can get sucked into it, and nice TV here.
Thank you.
Yes, you can get sucked into it and just sort of let yourself be in the game.
Yeah, well, definitely video games were like an escape for me when I was in high school. You know, I would just kind of lock myself in my room, and from like 10 to 10, I would just play video games. And it was just like a fun thing to do if I didn't want to go out, or, I was feeling anxious or just kind of down on myself. And that's what I look at. I stopped playing video games for like a few years when I was in college, and then I got back into it. And what's nice is now that I'm older, I can kind of see like so much goes into it, like just the environment and then story and then like gameplay mechanics. I have like a new level of respect for it now that I'm older.
Now that we're about to join the metaverse and no longer live in reality. Are you excited about that?
I don't really know what that is. I've seen commercials for it, and like I've heard people talk about it, but it's just all virtual reality, or
it's you've seen Ready Player One?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Basically,
okay.
Ready Player One. This will be a little test of our personalities. Yeah. I'm anti Facebook becoming meta and doing all of that, and it freaks me out. Mm-hmm. Like Facebook has already fucked us in so many ways. Yeah, I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg with literally our new existence,
our consciousness.
Yeah. Do you get paranoid about this?
I do. I do not like it too, because like here you can, tell the difference. But if it gets so much like life, people already kind of get sucked into like porn or other things and kind of ignore real life, and then you won't be able to tell the difference, and people will just be stuck in that all day, and they won't be able to, this won't be real anymore. Like that'll be more real than anything.
But working with children is disturbing.
Oh yeah, because they're so sucked into it already. Or
well, they lived in it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And they don't. They're. This is the first year they're all back. Yeah. At least, I don't know what the South is doing, but around these parts, this is the first year that they're back in school, physically in school. They keep getting quarantined, but it is what it is. And their maturity levels are all down. Like,
oh yeah, because they just haven't had social interaction for so long, and they're kind of.
The first graders the second graders. The last time they had been in school was in kindergarten.
Oh wow, that's a big leap.
Yeah. And the same with middle school. Like everyone's mature. Like they haven't matured in a way. Like they don't have the same social skills.
Yeah, it's not a natural progression. They kind of.
And it's weird, man. Like the phone stuff, the sex. They look up. They know too much. I know I sound old.
Yeah, they're teaching you stuff. You're like, what?
Yeah, like it's trippy. Or they have this like, what is that? Oh yeah, or what was that? you heard that, right?
Is that like a TikTok thing?
It's like a TikTok thing, but it's basically a sexual noise. And they'll just walk in the hallway. You'll hear it echo. Oh yeah, and this,
oh yeah,
yeah. And they're just hyper aware of sex stuff.
Yeah, just exposed to them so early.
Yeah, and the vape pens, like when I go into high schools, that shit is everywhere.
Really?
Oh yeah, they vape.
Is it allowed at the high school? Like if teachers see it, they don't confiscate it?
The teachers are overwhelmed.
Yeah,
it's like, just don't vape in the class. Just go in the fucking stall.
I already fucking told you. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm tired.
If I'm not allowed to, my vape's in my backpack. Listen, you can't do it. I'm the you can't do it either.
Is really crazy. It makes me wonder what they're gonna be like when they're our age.
That's terrifying. I think my sister has her niece, and she doesn't have a phone, and she's in 6th grade now. But at some point,
you have.
Yeah, I don't know if they need like an iPhone, but it would be nice. And I guess you don't want them to like be made fun of their friends. Once they get to high school, probably they would have a phone. But yeah, I guess as long as you can keep it from not having it, but it's just, I don't see any way that it's beneficial.
The balance.
They're so young.
Yeah, like it's what if you don't give them anything, then they're an outcast.
Yeah.
But if you give them things, then they just dive.
They're just children. I remember being like 13, and my friend had his phone. He was like, dude, check it out. And on it was Jug World. It was this website of all different kinds of boobs.
Oh.
It had like categories of boobs, and we would just sit there and just like scroll through pictures. And I was like, yes.
That is funny.
Is awesome.
That's considered archaic. That's silly.
Yeah.
Like a sixth grader now would be like, you're a pussy,
yeah,
bro.
what the fuck?
Yeah, like let me show
I
you
watch
some
anal.
X-hamsters.
Yeah. You fucking homo.
It's wild. I don't know. I guess maybe this is nihilist of me, but I don't have faith I don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't have faith in the future all that much.
Okay.
Do you have faith in the future, man?
I do get scared because I think about like just even doing comedy. I'm like, fuck, will things even be like this in 20 years? It looks like we're going rapidly downhill faster and faster.
Yeah. Oh, see, I'm bringing it down. I'm bringing it back down.
This is good. This is important stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think. I can't wait to bother you after this podcast because I'm gonna start doing that now.
Do it.
Now have you recorded your consent to me bothering you?
Oh no.
So like the way my head movies work is when we were talking about video games and all that stuff, I have to be present in the discussion of video games. I know that you're also thinking about the destruction of the world and Mark Zuckerberg and all that stuff, but let's talk about video games for a second. We don't need to veer into that.
Yeah, no worries.
And so you, in your head movies, you don't do that, right? Like when we're talking about video games, you're talking about video. You're in that, right?
Yeah. Usually I'm just think about it and like trying to articulate my feelings about it. I feel like I've always been bad about that. Like having a feeling and then putting it to words was always so tough for me. So when I try to explain something, I really want to focus on it so I can, have you understand. Yeah, but I mean, I'm, my head swirls. I'm always thinking about shit. I'm a little spacey.
What is your style of comedy?
Oh boy. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I don't think I've really figured it out yet, but if I were to put it, I guess just like kind of quick one-liners, and I rely heavily on like my personality. Just try to be, as much as myself as I can. But I love to like write stories and stuff like that. I just get nervous when there's not laughter within the first 30 seconds. So I'm like,
how long
one-liner, 26.
No, how long have you been doing stand-up?
I did the first time when I was 21, but I didn't really like,
I guess consistently.
Yeah, buckle down until I was like 23.
So about 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you're finding your voice or?
A little bit, yeah. Definitely being here in Chicago with all the opportunity and just getting up on stage like as much as you possibly can. I definitely feel like I've gotten better. It's funny. When I went back to California for Thanksgiving, I was going to hit open mics, and I was like, they're going to see how good I got. They're going to be so fucking impressed. And I went to one, and I bombed so fucking hard, dude. With all my best jokes I wrote here. Yeah. I was like, this is the tight five. This is it right here. I'm going to go up there and fucking,
Was it because it was catered to this area, or what do you think happened?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I have like an opening joke about like gender neutral job titles in the Bay Area. I guess just California in general, it can be a little sticky about stuff like that. Well, it's not like offensive at all, but I guess when you get on the topic, people get a little prickly.
I don't know. I've seen so much comedy, so I don't know if I highly doubt I can remember your set and vice versa.
Oh yeah,
but I'm gonna do this positive. It's gonna be positive. Get ready.
I'm ready for it. I'm here. If you need help, let me know.
I'm gonna say something positive about myself, and I'm proud of it.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited about. I think my style stands out here. I think it's looser than most people. Like from what I've been seeing, a lot of people, they say their jokes and that's what they do.
It's very to the point, very word for word chosen.
Yeah, and I think that my style seems to be a double-edged sword. I do get the vibe, and I don't think I'm being hyper negative here. I do get the vibe that I've rubbed people the wrong way in how aggressive and like almost mean and purposefully uncomfortable I will make things.
Well, I've seen you on stage. I don't get that vibe at all. I'm wondering, have you had people give you feedback like, hey man, you are?
No, it could just be in my head movies. But no, it's more like, okay, I was at the Laugh Factory Christmas party which was exciting.
Did you perform there? Because I know you were telling me you got a spot because you were there so much, and they were like, "This guy's good."
Yeah. No. Last was it last night? 2 nights ago. Sorry, they just had a Christmas party.
Oh, cool.
So just a bunch of comics hanging out, and there were some people there where I was like, "Oh, we are vibing. I'm sure over time we'll become friends." And there were other people there where I was like, "I get the vibe that you're not a fan of me as a person," which is fine. Learning to accept that, and not everyone's gonna like you. But I do think I have mixed feelings about that. Like on one hand, it's nice to feel like you stand out. On the other hand, I don't know if it's the smartest business thing to be so polarizing as a person, but I don't think I know how to do anything else. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Did that have a point to it?
The best thing you could do is just, be yourself. I think it's kind of obvious when there are some people who are just very schmoozy and they're just kind of talking to people to get connections. So, and that never feels good when you're talking to someone and you're like, oh, that's what this is. You're not really interested in me.
What is your least favorite part of this comedy journey?
Bombing.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. But I mean, just like, I think I'm a pretty social person, but I don't like being like disingenuine, which is kind of what the schmoozy part of it is. Cause like, it's important obviously to be funny and be talented and have a hard work ethic, but you'd be lying if it said it's not important to know the right people. So, I mean, that kind of sucks, but I think again, everything is a balance. If you can just find like, talk to people and be friendly. And then if they watch you do stand up and if you are truly funny, then I think things will generally work out for you. It may not be the fastest route to what you want to do, but I think it's the correct one.
Yeah. Patience. You seem to be a very patient person.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Okay. All right. Here's my plan.
Here.
Here's my plan. I'm just going to live my life, man. And then when things happen, I'm going to message you and be like, hey, how would white Aaron how would white Aaron go about
sport? That's how I'll start it off.
I don't know. I just want to siphon your vibe a little bit.
Yeah. Take it. Articulate it. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go watch Lovecraft Country, and I'll leave you alone in your apartment. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and is there anybody that you think would enjoy doing this?
Yeah, do you know Kendall Ralph at all?
I don't think so.
I could introduce you to some people. Kendall's really nice. I mean, there's a lot of comics. Stephanie Robertson's really cool.
Oh, so you know a whole. All right, I'll
probably.
probably.
Yeah, it's just open micers. Yeah, I can send you a list of people.
Okay. All right. Good night.
Good night, everyone.